very exciting session, and we're joined by some esteemed panelists here who will share their knowledge today in the next 30 minutes. This is about sustainable architecture and smart infrastructure. So if you guys don't mind, somewhere if you can start with a very brief intro about what you actually do and how have you contributed to the sector, that'd be great for in a minute or two, just to talk about what you've been doing. And then we get to the questions. Dr. Bassam.
Fine, thank you. Well, my name is Bassam Kaddissi. I come from Lebanon. I'm in the Executive Council of the Arab Hospitals Federation. My background is an architect, and I'm specialized in healthcare design. So I guess this is where the constraints come, especially in applying the infrastructure and smart since day one into the design that we will come and talk about it later on today.
Sure,
hopefully.
I'll have more questions for you.
Hi, Yianni, Spanos, Vice President of Sustainability Expo City, Dubai. Expo City, Dubai is a city within Dubai, which is people-centric, innovation-driven. Of course, we're looking for new innovative technologies all the time.
Thank you. I think you'll have to get your mic a little closer, because is it audible to everyone?
Yes.
Could you hear that clear? Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Hi, good
Okay,
morning.
Dr. Tamil.
Good afternoon. My name is Tamil Ramadoss. I'm the Group Chief Finance and also the Business Transformation Officer for a local group called RMB Group. We are into diversified industries ranging almost 10 to 12 portfolios from concrete business to manufacturing transformers. We are into also manufacturing tissues. We are also into agri-tech, where we are into hydroponics business and construction and contracting. So we have a lot of scope in sustainable business. So that's what I thought that we can share it today in this forum. Thank you.
Oliver Kraft. I work for Siemens, and currently I take care of NEOM from an account management perspective. And before that, I was in charge of smart city development. And one of my babies was Expo 2020, where we provided a technology blueprint for future smart cities. And before that, I had multiple C-level and senior management positions around the world, amongst them also some time in the US, 6 years, for example.
It's so beautiful, because this is such a diversified panel right now. We have people coming from, who just flew in from Saudi Arabia, from Lebanon, and we have local talent right here, sitting to share what Dubai has already done before, and what we are doing currently as well. So it's going to be very exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. Let me start with you, Dr. Bassam. Creating future-ready cities, it requires unusual collaborations between healthcare developers like us, technology firms, and the government. What partnership models have worked for you, and how can cross-sector collaboration accelerate the sustainability goals?
Thank you for this question. Actually, this is very important to know how to tackle these subjects and to learn from it as lessons learned. Let me tell you about our experience at the Arab Hospitals Federation. We have established, given the importance of the sustainability nowadays and the integration of the smart infrastructure since the beginning, so we have established the Arab Hospital Sustainability Center that combines most of the hospitals in the Arab world. So we work with governments, we work with authorities, operators like you, as you said, with designers like I do, for example, as an architect. And most importantly, we do share information, because legislation and governance is very important in this regard. So we are currently working with the WHO. We have signed an MOU about 2 weeks ago. And I guess this kind of partnership will be of success, because it's being shared all over and it's being addressed since day one and not later on as a second thought.
That's wonderful. So you're going straight for the top. WHO and somewhere you get to benefit the whole world through that, not just the region here, right?
Exactly.
That's wonderful. Let me bounce off straight to you, Oliver, because you and I share the kind of legacy of our companies. I think Siemens is a 178 years old firm. We are, as BCD Global, 73 years old firm, over 7 decades old. So I think it starts with sustainability in our day-to-day life first. How sustainable are companies? And then it goes to the other sustainability aspect where today you're talking about everything in your nearby surroundings. But I think it's important that the companies start thinking about sustainability with a very long-term perspective. So how, Oliver, how has your experience been, in Siemens? Because you are today helping out so many development firms. You're helping out. This city is all about real estate. So how has Siemens somewhere contributed to that growth here in this region?
I think you already made a very, very important point because you start with eating your own dog food, so to say. But before I come to that, I mean, Siemens has been consecutively ranked number 1 or 2 in our industry by the Dow Jones Sustainability Index. And Siemens has 329,000 employees, and we are active in 190 countries. And the technology we sold to these countries, they are expected to generate a reduction of CO2 emissions in the amount of 144 million metric tons. And that's just the sold technology in 24. Now, how do we do that? We gave ourselves a very robust, but also sophisticated framework. It's called DEGREE. It's about decarbonization, it's about ethics, it's about governance, it's about resource efficiency, equity and employability. And I give you 2 more numbers. We ourselves were able to reduce our electricity consumption by 17% compared to the last measurement date. And we want to become a climate neutral company. We also have roughly 33% of female colleagues in leadership positions, and we invested 442 million euros alone in last years in training and education of our people, because sustainability, as we all agree, is much more than the environmental aspect.
That's wonderful. Let's get on to the local talent here, from Dubai. We all hear about the Expo City, and we all know how successful that was to go across the world and ensure that it gets Dubai right on top in terms of being, forward thinking, in terms of actually being sustainable. Not just talk about a net zero by 2050, but Expo City actually made that happen. So would you want to take us through your experience, Dr. Yianni, as to how it happened, how did it germinate, and how were you able to actually manifest it?
The most important is to focus on the end user, which is the people who are going to use the city and will occupy and be the future residents. That's why the sustainability strategy is not focusing just on greenhouse gases or energy reduction. It focuses to well-focused areas, including society, livability, economics, well-being, security, going on and on. So it is very comprehensive idea of we have to focus to areas where then we can decide how we can make our city smart. And instead of seeing the technology, see the long-term perspective. Also, in parallel with that, we have a lot of key performance indicators, and these are based on global recognized certifications. For example, the city, the whole city, including the future expansion, has been pre-certified by the United States Green Building Council as a LEED Platinum city. Similar for the Well-Being Institute has certified the city as a gold. And all of that requirements provide the baselines and the vision, what we have to achieve on an elemental level in order to do a city that's for people but includes innovation.
Well, that's terrific. But I'm still amazed to know that this was thought of a decade ago, and
Correct.
a place like Dubai, it's possible, but how often would you see it across the world? Because today the whole city is moving towards that side, towards Expo City side. In fact, our land parcel also is in Dubai South, and that's like become very, very hot for now in real estate. So we believe that, that space has grown just because of the success that Expo City got.
I'll go back to the history. When Expo City was designed, the vision of the leadership was to have 2 master plans running together. One was for the Expo 2020, the other was in parallel to the Master Plan 2040 as part of the overall master plan of the Dubai. When World Expo 2020 was completed, people start working on the new master plan, as we call it, Expo City Master Plan, which is in alignment with the D33 agenda, which economic agenda with a master plan 2040. And as part of that, it's trying to adjust to the realities of the time and as we're progressing. It's important to highlight the three focus areas. They're sustainability related, but they're quite important to understand is resilience, design efficiency, and quality.
You want to add something to that, Oliver? Because you were involved as well from that.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I enjoyed the time very much. We were part of a family of partners, 12 premier partners. And I remember that every morning we sat, or my teams, they sat with the other technology providers. But what actually did the trick for us, and by the way, Expo 2020 was the most sustainable expo ever. Yeah, they have even beaten Japan, so what I heard, okay, which is the latest expo. So congratulations to that.
Applause to that. If you guys have been here, and if you heard that, it's been the most successful sustainable exhibition ever in the history. Expo, our Expo City, which is still now alive and which is still kicking, these are the two gentlemen. One is currently there, one is the one behind it who was involved. So it's beautiful to hear stories from them. We have the chance to do that. And in a conference like this, you can actually hear it heart to heart, rather than a makeup on an interview on a TV or something.
I want to, if I can finish my thought, and you're absolutely right, World Expos exist since 1851, and our company participated in all of them, by the way. But what I like very much about Expo was that from day one, it has been designed for the future. And it was clear that the Expo City would live on. And that did the trick, and that's where we also helped Expo City to achieve their LEED certifications and et cetera. So yeah, it was an amazing undertaking.
Yeah.
Great. Dr. Tamal, Samuel, let me come to you. As we move towards smarter cities and buildings, how do we ensure that technology today enhances the human well-being rather than overwhelming it?
I think, let me share some statistics why human-centric is very important. If we talk by 2050, it is expected almost 70% of urbanization will be there, where 80% of the world population is going to sit there, roughly. And if you look at the smart cities investments and the market size of that is by 2030 is almost $5.2 trillion. So these all whopping numbers very clearly say the entire economic system, ecosystem revolves around the human being. So when you talk about human-centrics, smart cities like Expo, which is more going to be a very inclusive city in itself, is more focusing on human-centric, where the people comes first. So this all goes back to the Harvard Business School and the Toronto Business School's concept of design thinking, where you don't throw a product to the market what you want to do. You first listen to the consumers, you first listen to the users, understand the requirements, that you translate into your product. So the same applies also to building smart cities, where the people who are going to use it, live it, have to first should be well understood what is the requirement. The second most important thing is that it should be the complete involvement of the citizens there to take their inputs. And the most important thing is it should be more equitable and inclusive. With more of a lot of AI tools and other technology being used, the biggest challenge we are going to have is the digital divide. What we mean by that is every citizen is going to get the same access to that of the technology growth that is being used. Somebody should be not left out. So when you talk about digital divide, it's more human-centric because every citizen sitting in every corner of the city should be able to equally use that particular technology. The technology is for the humans and not vice versa. The technology should subserve the interest of the humans. So that is what called as human-centric city developments. So I think Dubai is especially doing a great job. I was also a part of Dubai government for 13 years of my career, where I worked with Dubai Maritime City, where we made Dubai as the World Maritime Capital top 10 list, where we also worked on triple helix model, which is integrating government, industry, and academia, which means all these are all focused on making the people happy. So the city is always growing, and it's always one of the leading cities which is making the people happy. So that way, I think we are in the right place to talk about what is human-centric. And human-centric is also about transparency and accountability. If you talk about the Dubai Happiness Center and Dubai Happiness Meter, you can just have this data visible to you and you know whether you are fined correctly, whether you're getting the bills from the electricity board correctly. Everything is well measured, and that means human-centric.
Correct. You know what really resonated to me in that was that somewhere we have to make technology our servant rather than us becoming the other way around. That really is very, very important. Dr. Bassam, let me ask you, what does a truly human-centric smart infrastructure framework look like to you in your sector of hospitality? How does it look like to you in hospitals, healthcare?
No.
Okay, thank you. I just want to give an example what the gentleman here just said and try to reflect it on the healthcare. For example, the experience of the Expo 2020 and the good experience and that was future looking maybe years ago. And as Mr. Tamil also said, that the smart infrastructure, it should respond on the need. So this is how for the healthcare, and let me give you the example of the COVID, what happened. Although this is a bad experience we all went through, but this was a lesson to all of us, and some of the healthcare facilities were somehow planned to be ready for it. And because of that, we have seen that some countries and some specific regions in specific countries, because the hospitals had this kind of vision, they operated and they saved lives very quickly. Now, when we talk about smart infrastructure for hospitals, we can say that this hospital, for example, is smart. It is not only about the smart devices that is used, it is the whole planning of it. So it's all the technologies, how it senses, how it analyzes, and how it responds. And all of this now is growing faster with all the AI tools, especially in the healthcare. We are talking now, a session a while ago, they were talking about replacement. I guess the minister was saying about some jobs will be replaced by the AI. Of course, this will make things easier, but with all the advancement now in technologies, especially in the healthcare, we are doing robotic surgeries, we are talking about telemedicine, but at the end, there's a doctor, there's the human being behind all of this. He should have the proper knowledge of this. Of course, things will be faster. And a very important note as well is the cybersecurity for this, because this is very important. All the data shall be kept and analyzed and given some guidance of who is looking on what information, especially when it comes to patient safety and security.
Dr. Yianni, let me come to you and ask you about the role of data today in designing cities of the future. Because you did design this. Let me ask you, if the smart infrastructure is running on data, and data governance, privacy, and real-time analysis, they become major challenges. So how do you balance that connectivity?
I'm a believer of beyond smart cities, and I'll explain what I mean about that. Smart is about data, but if you would like to develop a city and expand the city, you have to see the data of the previous smart cities and try to work with them and optimize them. Small example. If you go around all the old successful global cities like Singapore, Copenhagen, parts of the LA, also LA, and you measure what is there as part of the amenities, the people movement, the proportions of different parks areas, there are some similarities. If you integrate that with the telecoms and the movement of the people, how they're going around the cities, you can see some other similarities. Now you have a master plan or a way of mapping how cities can be optimized within new developments. And by doing that and having other KPIs, key performance indicators, how cities would like to operate within this environment, then you have in some ways the blueprint of the smart infrastructure, which is the last thing to put on. Because the most important is to see how the people can work together, how the people can move. And at the same time, in order for the community to be successful, there must be people activity during all day and during all functions and maximize the different uses of the real estate assets. So smart strategy is not only the technology, but you need the technology, is how to make your asset to have a better value, added value after 10, 15 years.
That's great.
That's how I see it.
On smart tech and smart infrastructure now, I would want to ask all of you, because Dubai has been far ahead, as we keep talking about. They think much in future, and we are so blessed to be in this city today. This episode that happened in April of last year, when we had major downpour of rains, and the whole city was flooded. The whole world was making, a kind of fun, and there was mockery because they said, this is what's happening, the cars are floating around. But just after that, after those 1 or 2 days, Dubai government announced a scheme which actually spent 30 billion, which is about to spend 30 billion dirhams on drainage all over the city. So for me, I think we are living in a very future-oriented city, and where there are actions taken very quickly. So if I may ask all of you now, for me to understand creating future-ready cities, it requires unusual collaboration, but also in regions like this, the pace of development is extraordinary. So when we develop quickly. To get infrastructure alongside that, how does that happen, and how does this city make it look so smooth? The city here, infrastructure, the budget, 48% of the budget's gone into infrastructure here. Right. You saw the 2026 budget, 9.5 billion, 47.5 billion is actually in infrastructure. So I want to know from all of you, what is it that fascinates you about the city? Is it the smart tech? Is it the futuristic?
Can I add something?
Yeah, sure.
I didn't know till I went to some conference. People told me on satellite imaging, the only area in Dubai that was not flooded was Expo City. Why? Because 12 years ago, they did a design where they have I call it a lake, but actually stormwater managing pod. And the design was designed with 50 or 70 years return period. Interesting enough, I could not go to my office because all the interchanges around were flooded. So that day I stayed at home. But what we have proven is if the design is resilient and long-term thinking, actually you don't need to do this spending. And currently, as part of the new update of the site, we're trying to certify the infrastructure under the BRE, British Test Establishment Infrastructure Standards, in order to make sure it's resilient, proof
oriented
with all the climate change action. And if we see that Dubai, we have to think about not only flooding, it's heat stress, it's dust storms, and for the areas that near the sea, we have to think also the water levels rising. But invest at the beginning, you don't have to pay later. That's the lesson learned by being in Expo and seeing the project working in real time.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, please.
Living in this country for almost more than 2 decades, I've vouched for how this city has grown. And the downpour, what you said, is first ever I saw also in this country. But they have been very, very proactive, I should say that. And also they have been very fast in reacting to what has happened from the nature. And I think this city and its governance is taking more resilient, as I would re-emphasize and reiterate on this word. It's a more resilient, and they're working really on the future-proofing of the infrastructure. Let me tell something, because we are the suppliers of some of the components of this city building, where we are talking about concretes, right? So we were having a chat with the doctor, and I thought I'll share something on that. When you talk about a city which is having, anybody knows what is the population of Dubai? 4.2 million, correct? So by 2030, what is expected to be? Any idea?
7.
So some 5.7, some say 7, some are telling even by 2035, it will be 10 million, correct? Every day you can see the real estate is being launched here, correct? Real estate is not being constructed, it's being manufactured with a plan to accommodate people and societies here. So the Centennial Plan of 2071 is already there. When countries are talking for next 10 years, 15 years, the Centennial Plan of UA 2071 is already there. So by this, we are very clear that leadership, and I've been a part of government, I can understand how the government is working like a private sector, more than a private sector, to be very, very visionary in that process. So to make it very short, we supply a lot of modular and very flexible materials for building. For example, we're talking about the plasma concretes. That is, maybe our users will be Dubai Expo City.
Plasma,
Surely.
wow.
Plasma materials. And very interestingly, you should understand, the most important natural resource we are all talking about is water. What comes next, or equally important, is sand. 50 billion tons of sand is being used globally in the construction industry. That's a very whopping number. In that way, how we can reduce the impact of that usage is a recent research done from RMIT that in Australia, and I think that will take shape in another 2-3 years. The coffee bean waste can be added to the concrete, and we are as an industry, we are working on that. Coffee bean waste can improve 30% of strength of the concrete, and it can replace a lot of sand. And that is what the materials being supplied even to Dubai municipality. We're working on that. So you can see that how the country and the state and the province and the emirate is very, very transformative about talking about the futuristic and future-proofing the materials that is used in sustainability. So when you talk about construction, when you talk about any materials that's being used, it's going to be very modular, it's going to be very flexible, and if you talk about, it's going to be more climate-proofed.
That's very good.
Correct? So in that way, I think the state is very, very future-proofing itself in every aspect of that industry.
Absolutely. I think we are truly blessed to be here. Oliver, let me come back to you. We have 4 minutes left, but I want to really know from you that sustainability today is going far beyond certifications and ratings, energy ratings. How is your organization, how Siemens, which is such a phenomenal name, they're doing so much in this sector, how is it embedding sustainability into long-term operational models, materials, energy systems? How are you guys doing it, and life cycle planning?
Part of it I already answered when I shared about the degree framework. And the second part of the answer is basically that you implement that principle of sustainability in all the phases which a product goes through. That means from early on, from technology design to production, to basically distribution or implementation, and then later maintenance and service. Because eventually, cost and sustainability are very much interrelated. If I help you to save your energy cost, if I help you to save your cost for water, then automatically I drive sustainability. And on the other hand, I make sure that we can achieve social and economic goals, because eventually we bring bread to the people who actually are employed by the companies, in this case our customers.
Great. So in one last 1 or 2 words from each of you to say, what is it that is most exciting innovation for you that's coming up in the future? For all of you, I need just 1 or 2 words to say this is what you're most excited about, the most exciting innovation in the future in this field. Dr. Bassam, will start with you.
The challenges, you mean? Or
What are you most excited about? What's coming in where you think you can't wait to see it happen? Where you can't wait to see that this is, you'll be able to see it in this lifetime.
Okay, maybe I cannot give a direct answer to this very clearly, but as I was saying before, this is all about sensing. So looking at the history and things, how fast they are going. I guess this should be separate on each subsector level or sectors level. For example, when I look at the future hospital, it's not the same as I'm looking at future residential building or at a future hotel. So things differs. Now, no one years ago could imagine that I will hold a cell phone and with a camera inside. Now, this is outdated already. So I guess planning is very important. The need and expectations, to read expectations maybe.
Okay, good. Very good. So you're excited about the planning that is happening already. What about you, Dr. Yianni? What excites you the most? The innovation that's coming.
Yeah, I would like to see more inclusive community cities, and I can see a benefit of micromobility. By using fast movement within the cities, actually we can save some time to do things that we really have to with our families.
For me, the most exciting, and I'm already seeing, and I will see till my life end, is that technology. And the humans have found something very, very great in their lifetime, in the last generations. They've created something new called AI technology, robotics, where that is going to exactly simulate exactly what humans are going to do, right? So that is what I am looking forward to see, where humans will be working with co-humanoids, where the human-computer interaction is going to be 100%. And what is that humans are going to take advantage of that? And that could be in any aspect, running the governments, cryptocurrencies, you talk about quantum currencies, you talk about quantum economies, you can't talk about real-time monitoring where you have the data only yesterday so that you are very predictive in your analytics. I think technology is what really fascinating for me, and I've seen that in every of my industry. One thing I just want to say is that in farming, I come from a farming family back in India. We used to waste a lot of waters in the farms. We do not know how much water is actually consumed. Today we are talking about precision farming using the AI and robotic technology, where we know exactly how many drops of water that is getting used in the seedling till the fork. So we know exactly how much of the resource being used thanks to the technology. And I think if this technology used in the way, in the right hands, I think human civilization will go to the next heights. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oliver, last word from you. What innovation excites you the most in future?
I would have picked also smart water management, by the way. Now, let's say there are two, but I will explain only one. One is smart grids. This is upcoming, especially for the UAE. Right now, the adoption of so-called distributed energy resources is rather low. They already produce a lot of course, solar, and which is nice and very sustainable. But the technology I'm very much interested in is fully autonomous buildings. That means imagine just a building would be more than just 4 walls and a roof to shelter you and us. But it would be not only a smart building where you have IoT constantly reporting on occupancy, energy usage, security systems, heatings, etc. But the next level is that the building would automatically understand what's happening inside and predict what's next before issues or problems even occur, and make sure that we are comfortable and safe and secure within the buildings. And of course, I can expand on that, but I will stop now.
Yeah, time's up, but it's music to my ears, as a development firm, it's music to my ears that you're thinking on those lines, so
Right.
it will be very good to look at partnership opportunities. Excellent, so I think time's up, everyone, so you can ask us 1 or 2 questions maximum. If you have anything from anyone on the panel, be happy to answer. Raise a hand? Okay. That's it. Okay, the time's up then. No more questions. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And attention. Thanks to Trescon as well. Anyone from Trescon here? You guys organized this a little late, but it's good. Thank you so much.